a leftist propagandist has got to be one of the most tiring things in the world. Finding things to mislead your victims about, while at the same time shielding them from what is actually happening. And then when things that don't, square with the peddled narrative actually happen, they have to find a way to spin it into some insane right-wing democracy-destroying conspiracy. I mean, we live in crazy times. 4 years ago, a Supreme Court justice's wife showed some support for Donald Trump. And now, propagandized leftists everywhere are tilting at windmills. And just see if you can guess why.
Correct. Famously said, don't ask us to do it the court. Right. You can do it the ballot box next year.
And I think it's, we're at the end now of 25 years where with Bush v. Gore, and people were stunned that to see this court appearing to act in such a nakedly partisan way. And it has been 25 years of erosion. And erosion on the basis of these predictable outcomes on the basis of who you were appointed by.
He talks about the court's predictable outcomes, and he says it's all based on who appointed the justices. But the problem with that theory is the only thing that makes a good Supreme Court decision predictable is the fact that they're actually based on a true reading of the Constitution. And I think you'll notice, man, these people, they can rattle off all the decisions they disagree with, but they cannot ever tell you why they're actually wrong. They can't. They just don't like them because they don't like the decision. It's wrong. And usually the reason they don't like it is because leftists actually hate the Constitution itself.
I think, all of these displays, the Ginny Thomas case, the go to the Federalist Society, the hanging of the flag upside down, you might be able to, in some world, dismiss all of it as symbolic outside the court action if it weren't for the fact, the thing you just said, which is the most crucial thing. There is nothing more important than the notion that a president who's been indicted for having been a participant in and having led an insurrection against the United States government, that case be heard before this election so that the former president, Donald Trump, would have the legal and political accountability so voters would know whether this man was guilty of having committed a crime of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds fantastic. I'm sure it sounds extra fantastic if you're the typical Morning Joe MSNBC victim. But just listen to his words, man. Listen to what he's actually saying. First, he reaffirms to all the Trump deranged that are probably watching the show that Donald Trump is charged with insurrection. And not just charged with insurrection, but leading an insurrection. Obviously, anyone who knows what's going on, anyone with two brain cells to rub together understands that is not just untrue, but it's not even close to true. I mean, Donald Trump is charged with a 160-year-old reimagined Reconstruction-era law, an anti-Klan law. And he's also charged with essentially giving speeches, which is why the question of official acts is right now before the Supreme Court. And this guy, he talks about just getting it over with before the election so that the voters can have some sort of closure. And you know what? Yeah, that sounds fantastic. That sounds great. But what he's actually advocating for is the destruction of a citizen, Donald Trump, a destruction of his Fifth Amendment rights based on the timing of an election. Donald Trump is only exercising his rights to defend himself. He's not getting any special treatment. This guy here says the election is so important that we need to race through a trial. And the court is saying that our elections are so important that we better get this court thing correct. Let me know in the comments, which one makes the most sense to you.
And there is no conceivable world in which we are really going to say that, whether you're conservative or liberal, that the president of the United States is beyond the reach of the law, is immune from any prosecution for anything he does when he's in office. And yet, the U.S. Supreme Court, in a wholly predictable and partisan way, decided to basically say, as you said, slow walk, I would say, an outrageous decision not to seriously just pass on this case.
Yeah.
Given what the appeals court had done, there was only one right answer, which was, there is no issue here. There is no issue here other than the partisan issue.
How do these people square in their minds that they now think that the court should have passed on this case after they were the very, very same people demanding that the same court hear the same case and just skip the appellate court to do it? How can they form those same thoughts without literally damaging their brains even more? Maybe, I don't know, maybe their brains cannot be damaged anymore. But again, This guy is purposefully and carefully misleading the MSNBC victims. He implies that this case is about a president being able to do anything and everything that they want while they're in office. And that's not the question at all. The question is, are official acts protected? And every single president that ever has been or ever will be better hope that they are. Joe, for his dealings and actions on the border, and Barry was literally shooting hellfire missiles at American citizens without due process.
And now they are going to almost certainly guarantee that we will not have a verdict in that case before voters go to the polls in November. It's a shocking, substantive act, not a symbolic thing. I mean, I'm not downplaying the hanging of the flag upside down. That's the leading indicator. That's what's reflective of is this total casting aside of any attempt or pretense of being nonpartisan. It is just we are doing what our, in this case, conservative ideology tells us to do, and we're working for Donald Trump.
Yeah. And it's really a moment of reckoning for the Chief Justice because it is an unaccountable institution appointed for life, but the Chief Justice has an opportunity. He has an obligation to take action. Congress has an obligation to take action. There are remedies like a code of conduct and inspector general that can be imposed here, but it is really up to the Chief Justice most immediately to act.
The crazy thing is, man, these people think that they're serious. They think that they're spreading truth. I think that they think that. I don't know. But these are the same people that probably still believe that they're in the presence of a brave war hero when they invite the spineless and completely disgusting Senator Blumenthal on the program. I mean, these are not serious people. These are dangerous propagandists is what they are. But the good news is their bubble is shrinking. No one serious cares what they say. And the Supreme Court especially does not care what the crazies on MSNBC or the poor folks that watch this program actually think. And actually, the good thing about the court, they don't care what you and me think either. They do not care what anyone thinks. And that's exactly the point of the Supreme Court. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.